Hi everyone, Counseling 4000, Chapter 25, Developing Goals and Objectives at the Provider Agency. The provider agency has received your broad general goals. They've reviewed the paperwork. They'll sit down and develop with the client very specific goals and objectives to address the larger goals you put on the referral form. So again, it might be something like stop drinking, right? But we don't necessarily know how they're going to approach it. So at the provider agency, they're going to do more extensive research when it comes to the client and say you were drinking 15 drinks a day. Now we're going to try and bring it down to 10 for the next couple of weeks or whatever. And then after that, we'll proceed to doing even less and then less and less or whatever it is. Go to AA, all those things. They're going to be the ones who are really going to focus on those specific things because that's what they are hired and paid to do. Client participation and collaboration. If the client is unable to participate at the time due to mental or physical condition, learn who the person would want to participate on their behalf. For example, if adult daughter is in charge of caring for mother who has Alzheimer's disease, work with the daughter because they're working together. Assessment and evaluation forms usually have a place to record people's answers, and someone reading your plan should see it clearly and indicate it that the client participated and agreed with the directions of the goals. So again, a lot of this stuff is documented to say that, this isn't just the case manager wanting this person to change. It is actually that person and the people around them who are involved with their lives who also want to change it. And that's really the biggest, people that you're really going to be concerned about is the client themselves, right? And that they really want to do these things. It's not up to the case manager or the therapist to say, hey, you need to do these things. Make objectives manageable. Some goals and objectives overwhelm the client because they do not know how difficult it is to change. Sometimes we just say things like, I'm going to just stop drinking. It's not that easy. We've been using drinking to, let's say, deal with a domestic violence issue or failure in something or whatever, a disability. It's not that easy to just go, hey, let's stop drinking. But that's the ultimate goal, right? And so sometimes people don't realize how big and how difficult and challenging it can be to get from step A to step B. Best to choose small objectives, small attainable steps that the person is able to make. Do not overwhelm a person with too many goals and objectives. So usually when we come to counseling, we usually have 3 goals that they want to achieve. 3 is a manageable number. If they have 15, whoa, that just sounds so overwhelming, doesn't it? So we want to start with 3 and then hopefully you can let them know maybe these 3 things, once you can achieve those things, you can actually achieve the other ones, or the other ones might be related to the 3 main ones. And then once you resolve those 3, the other ones fall away as well. Overwhelming would be goal. Larita will become self-sufficient financially by 2020 as evidenced by. Number 1, objective 1, Larita will go to college in nursing by fall of 2015. Objective 2, Larita will attain a nursing degree by 2017. And then objective 3, Larita will attain a position in the local hospital by July 2017. That's really cutting it close with everything, right? So instead, we want to make it a little bit more realistic. Okay, here is the realistic goal version. Larita will go to college in nursing by fall of 2015. Objective 1, Larita will get the college catalog, which is just, the schedule of classes. Objective 2, Larita will choose a course of study, so she'll probably study nursing. 3, Larita will enroll in the college. 4, Larita will choose her courses for the semester. And then 5, Larita will complete her first semester. So you see how the small baby steps are much more easy to get. I'll give you an example. I had a friend who, when she was younger, said, hey, this is my future. This is, I think, when we were 5th grade. She says, when I am 18, I'm going to go to a private school and I'm going to become a brain surgeon when I graduate. Okay, so that I'll be like 25, and when I'm 25, I will have married my husband or my boyfriend, and then by the age of 30, I will have 4 kids, and then, by 42, I will have my own company and all this other stuff. Did it really happen? No, it didn't really happen that way at all. She never became a brain surgeon. She did have kids and got married, but she's definitely not what she said she was going to do. Because they always are really lofty ideas, and sometimes we don't necessarily get them because of how life is, right? I'm not saying that my friend is a failure in any way. She's actually very happy, but things just change. So you want to make sure that the things that you're going to reach are much more realistic so that it's not so scary or overwhelming that you just want to avoid it if you don't get, one of the steps. Writing goals, best practices, positive outcomes is how you want to write it. So a bad way to say something would be, Myrna will try to find an apartment by June 1st. Instead, you want to say, Myrna will find an apartment by June 1st. So that part is the word try, okay? Bad is Mina will try to find an apartment. No, instead you want to say it is as it is. She's going to find an apartment by June 1st, or Mina will find an apartment by June 1st. Bad would be Genesis will no longer frequent bars. Instead, you want to focus on the positives, which is Genesis will attend AA meetings 4 times a week. Okay, so because she's attending those things, she's not going to go to those bars. So it kind of means the same thing, but we want to state it in positive ways. Bad would be Gustavo will go to public housing and hopefully find housing there. Instead, you want to say Gustavo will obtain housing for his family from public housing. Okay, obviously everything is a hope, right? But when you state it in a more concrete way, it just makes us feel more positive and also more determined that you will find it by this date, not maybe find it by that date, because you said maybe, you allow yourself to fail. The client is the focus. So here is a bad way of writing something. Brian's grandfather will work with Brian to get reacquainted. Instead, you want to say, because Brian is your client, Brian will spend time with his grandfather once a week. So it's the same thing, but we're focusing really on not on the grandfather, but on Brian himself. He is the client. Bad would be therapy will help Monique relate better to others. Instead, you want to say, Monique will work with the therapy team to learn to control her anger. Again, much more specific and clear and on focus to exactly what she needs to achieve. The goal has one outcome only. All right, so here's a bad example. Cynthia will communicate verbally and attend AA meetings. The reason why this is bad is because these are two separate goals. It should be Cynthia will communicate verbally with people, and another one is Cynthia will attend 5 meetings or 5 AA meetings per week. Okay, so you need to make sure that it's not two things put into one because that's called like a double barrel. In terms of like when you have two, we don't know which one we're supposed to focus on. And sometimes actually when you do that, people only pay attention to the second one and not the first one. Or written in one sentence. So bad would be Benjamin will attend work consistently. He will accomplish this by August 6, 2016. Here is the thing. Both of those things are one thing or related to one topic. So you want to change it so it's just one sentence. So the good way to write that would be by August 6, 2016, Benjamin will attend work consistently. Objectives. They are concrete, observable, and measurable. That means that you can hear them and you can see them. Okay, see figure 25.1 on page 426 for 3 examples. But here's one right here that we'll look at, which is the client is Giovanni. The goal is Giovanni will play cooperatively with other children as manifested by Objective 1. Giovanni will talk to at least 3 other children every day without hitting. Objective 2 is Giovanni will eat lunch with the other children at least 4 days a week. And Objective 3, Giovanni will help other children carry out a classroom chore without yelling. So right here we can observe. If you close your eyes, you can see all those objectives visually in your head so you know that Giovanni is succeeding, right? So these are things that you can see and or hear from Giovanni. And when you can do that, then you can check off that they have actually done those things. See figure 25.2 on page 427 for 3 examples. Here's client is Crystal. The goal is Crystal will use her local senior center to meet new friends as demonstrated by Crystal will call her local senior center for hours. They are open. Crystal will choose the dates and times she prefers to go to the center. Crystal will arrange for transportation with the case manager's help. And Crystal will attend the Senior Center twice a week. So you can see right there, if you close your eyes and imagine it, you can actually imagine all those things very easily. Then you know that she's actually achieving them. And they're realistic goals too, right? Realistic objectives, so that you know that they can, that anyone can do them if you know who that person is, that client is. Because sometimes there are things that are not easily achievable, and you don't want to put that in there because it's too hard to achieve. You might want to break it into smaller steps, and then slow and behold, that person and then motivated because they did 1 and 2, they're going to try and finish and do 3. Not objectives because you cannot hear or see. The client will gain insight into his problems with his mother. Okay, these are not objectives because we don't really know what that means. How do you see insight? Okay, you need to see visuals, proof, how they provide it in one way or another. The client will understand the importance of AA. How do we know? How can we tell that they know the importance of it? The client will work well with other children at school. What does that mean? We don't know. These are more like goals, right? So these are the bigger picture, but how do you achieve those things? You need to show proof of the little things that then reach that bigger thing. Try to turn them into objectives. Henry will be able to talk about the problems he and his mother have. See, once he's able to actually say it and you can see it and hear him do it, then you can say, oh, okay, these are good objectives. Araceli will attend AA meetings twice a week. Again, you can see those things, right? Gabby will work cooperatively with other children on the playground. Proper endings. End every goal statement with one of these phrases. As manifested by, which means as created by this person. As evidenced by, which means showing proof of through this. As demonstrated by, which means a person has shown you. And then as indicated by, which means, again, proof. Like, we are seeing that these things have happened, therefore we know that these things have happened. Numbering system. Goals are A, B, C, D. So that's goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, goal 4 if you had 3 goals or 4 goals, but we want to call them A, B, C, D because objectives are usually used with numbers. So those would be objective 1, objective 2, 3, and 4. So the shorthand would be A1 is goal A, objective 1, and you will use this in your notes. So you don't have to write client is achieving goal A, objective 1. You can just say A1 was reached. Okay, it's just a shorthand so that you don't have to write it all out.